Welcome back to another episode of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on, dude?
And on the sticks, we got TJ.
Hello.
Sorry. I had a little bit of an exhale there, you know?
It's a good one, dude.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that, right?
Yeah, you got to breathe every once in a while. Touch some grass.
That's the least that we get to do, right? Just get a little bit of breath in.
Yeah.
Everybody else is out there in Dubai, dude.
Yeah, I heard they were doing some push-ups over there.
Doing some push-ups, probably doing like, what's that smoke device? Hookah? Doing some hookah, some hits of hookah. Yeah. I don't know what else you do. Drive Lambos and shit, I guess. Every time I see Dubai, it's just like a
Lambo fest?
A Lambo playground.
Yeah.
Flex your Richard Milles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, what's that?
It's a watch.
Okay. Richard Milles?
Yeah. Those are like those $1 million watches per the name, right? You know the ones where it's like you got like a universe on your wrist? Damn, you really don't know shit, do you?
No. I got to look this up now.
Yeah, go ahead. Familiarize yourself with the culture of Web3, dude. Like, you know, everybody's out there in Dubai, you know, raising VC cash to buy their Richard Milles, dude. I might be thinking of Jacob and Co, by the way. Like the actual, look up, it's another one. That's one.
Is this the universe you're talking about?
No. I think I was talking about the wrong one, but these are also like super expensive, right? Now look up Jacob and Co. Like,
so this one's $240,000.
Jeez. And it's made out of plastic, dude.
I guess people get wrecked in all forms, right?
Yeah. This is like the Bored Apes of watches, right? Where like you're buying a plastic watch for $500,000.
Yeah, you could definitely pick up something similar to that in the mall.
Yeah, for like $10, right?
Yeah.
Now it might have like a Looney Tune or something on it, but to me that make it more valuable, right?
I mean, it's definitely cool looking, but
yeah,
the plastic thing really is what's happening. It's like plastic is in, boys.
It is in, absolutely.
All right, what's the other one? Jacob what?
Jacob and Co, I think. Now you gotta look up Jacob watch like planet system or something. I don't know. I think you'll like this one. You like space.
Generally, yes.
Okay, imagine space on your. There it is. That thing. Yeah. So maybe you can find like a video of it though, because it's kind of cool. Because like I think the planets actually like move around and shit.
All right, this is definitely not sponsored.
I mean, look at the intricacy of that, dude. It's like, ooh, it's
plastic,
seductive.
Plastic. Okay.
I don't know. That might be
That's
like
definitely plastic, dude.
That might be some like unearthly gem.
It's amber.
There you go. Look at that, dude. Look at the engineering here on display.
So how much is this?
I don't even want to know. I'm gonna say 1 to 2 million. Would be my bet.
No, dude.
Find out.
Is he gonna?
It's about all
what
it
else
does.
does it
Tells
do?
time, Will.
Tells the time and lets you know where you are in the astrology chain.
How do you know what time it is?
That's a good question. I don't know.
This is not a time watch, dude. This is just a flashbang.
Flashbang.
Oh, I guess that's it, right?
Flashbang of the cosmos.
That's 306.
Jesus, dude. Now that's
No,
a flex, dude.
906.
All right, so now find the price tag of that motherfucker, dude. That way you can
Let's
get
go shopping.
properly motivated.
Yeah,
That's it. No, there's one for $1 million
casino.
over there.
$680,000.
There's the $1 million on the right there. Wowzers.
Dragon Rose Gold.
Wow. See?
All right, this is completely attainable, dude.
See, now you're part of the zeitgeist now, because now you understand the underlying motivation of it all. It's to acquire these things, dude.
I see. So people will listen to me if I'm wearing one of these?
Absolutely.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, you would definitely your fade probabilities would decrease dramatically if you're rocking one of these dragonites. You know?
Estimated tax only $87,000.
Wow. I can't even imagine paying that tax like over time. Like that's so insane. So yeah.
Okay.
So this paints the picture, right? There's definitely levels to this.
So everyone in Dubai is wearing one of these dragons.
Yeah, or they're out there like engaging in whatever activities to Eventually get to the point where you can acquire a dragon.
Well, this one's at a $87,000 discount.
Oh, you're basically stealing it, dude. You're just giving it away.
It's not $2.5 million. It's $2.4 million.
Why? What is that? Is
Using
that also,
wire transfer, so
is that
not a
also
credit card.
plastic? It's also plastic, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do they say? It says bezel 18K ever rose gold. Band color is black.
Plastic.
Band
Rubber.
material is rubber. It's not
Wow.
plastic, dude.
That's some high polymer stuff.
But that's $2.5 million though.
Yeah, I mean, there's some alien punks worth that, right? So alien board apes and shit.
That's
so.
right.
Yeah, I mean, if there's people who have the capital to like flex in the digital sense, of course people will spend that amount of money. I mean, there's only so much like physical real estate to like flex your awesomeness, right?
Yeah. I was just imagining a credit line of over $2.5 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
I know. So that's why I'm right. That's why I'm breathing over here.
So you can't take the fact that you don't have one of these on your wrist? Or
No,
what?
I don't care about that. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just over here breathing to like release the stress, right? As opposed to I'm part of the cabal. I'm in Dubai. I'm getting my neck rubs and shit. You know,
I see.
I don't get to experience that degree of stress relief, right? Whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, we're in crypto, and then we're out there in the nightclub scene.
Yeah, it's like
Getting wasted, popping bottles.
It's like zero revenue.
Zero revenue. That's right. Zero product market fit.
Yeah.
But we raised $50 million though somehow. And then like, but it turns out like half of our investors are like some automated market maker that is going to instantly dump it once it gets on a Coinbase or Binance, which just happened
after
right now.
pumping it though.
Well, yeah. I haven't looked too hard into that, by the way, the move stuff or whatever. But I saw that Coinbase like delisted it this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. Some L2, I guess.
We need to unpack that for sure. Like we need to look into it because that's part of like.
Is there a way? Just find some tweets, dude.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, you guys might think this is a waste of time, but it's
No,
actually not.
This is part of the industry. So what's it called? Move
L2, I guess.
L2.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of like threads out there as to what's happening. What the hell, dude? Wow. Okay, remove L2.
Move? Just move?
Maybe.
It's so random.
Put like the dollar ticker before it, you know?
Oh, the move token. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. So here we go. They raised $38 million. They had Trump inside.
Okay.
But one secret deal destroyed everything. This is how Move collapsed before it even started.
Oh my goodness.
Here are the bros.
The bros.
They're missing their 2.5 million watches.
I wonder if they're at Dubai right now, like as all this is unfolding. I bet you they are.
Of course they are, dude.
Yeah.
A day after launch, 66 million tokens were dumped. The price crashed. Binance banned the account behind it. People asked, who gave them so many tokens? So this is due to market makers' behavior. For the purpose of best protecting Binance users, we have taken additional steps as follows: informed the Movement Lab and Movement Foundation terms of irregularities with their market maker, froze proceeds from the market maker for the purpose of compensating users.
Wow.
And then off-boarded and forbid any further market-making activities by the market maker on Binance.
Damn.
So this, I mean, if you're not deep into the industry, like you didn't even know that market makers like had deep dealings here.
What are they doing actually? Like whenever
they're providing liquidity to a token, and
Right.
so they technically have a bunch of liquid cash that they supply to the token, and then depending on how their system is set up, they supply that liquidity to a certain range of prices.
Okay.
And then that range is where you can trade. And if you go out that range, it just completely tanks.
Really?
Yeah.
So Binance needs these people in order for Binance.
So they do several services. They They provide volume, so it's like, oh, it looks like there's activity here, right? To the
Yeah, true.
right, but
Need that.
there really isn't, right? No human bodies out there actually trading the token. It's just a
Wow.
market maker going in and out, buying and selling.
So we just experienced something with the Ohm crash, right?
Exactly that.
Where
Yeah.
it got to like 2.5 billion.
Yes.
Maybe even higher.
Yeah.
And just instantly nukified. Let's check in on those
Yeah.
guys.
So CoinGecko, just go to OM. It's called Mantra.
Yeah.
And you go just.
Oh, wait. Did it recover?
No.
No, dude. Not like this.
Yeah. So the market
No.
maker pulled out and just
Oh.
completely dumped the price.
Yeah, so it's another situation, right? Where like I guess these founders, these teams, they have investors, they're raising Series A's, Series B's, whatever, X, Y's,
Yeah.
and Z's and stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't know they're making like dealings, like you're saying, with like some insider group that they've had this planned all along, right? It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll navigate the market activity waters to get this token
Yeah.
to a certain spot valuation, right? And where it seems like comparable to other tokens alike it.
Yeah, it was interesting because when we were looking at RWA projects, this didn't really hit our radar. Like we
Yeah, did it?
mentioned it, like it's like, well, this other one's like going crazy, but
Because there was a platform that we looked at. It's kind of like the DeFi Llama for RWA. I forgot what it's called off the top of my head.
yeah, yeah,
But it had like the RWA sector metrics.
Sure.
And it had like all the notable
yeah.
platforms around that. And yeah, it wasn't on the list.
Oh, it
right?
wasn't. Oh,
That's
that's
why I
interesting.
didn't make the cut. You know?
Wow, so they didn't do their like clean house and just like exist
Figured
on
out
all,
how to integrate.
Yeah,
Whatever that even means, right? Maybe they didn't have like the actual TBL requirements. I don't know.
yeah,
Right.
maybe, yeah,
But
maybe-
nonetheless, but the situation why that token got so valuable was again an extension of what the industry is kind of like experiencing in real time, right? It's kind of funny that people didn't know like this is how things happen.
yeah. I mean, it's not obvious.
Yeah, I guess
don't
if you're
think.
just a degen in the market, you don't really know like how all these tokens are kind of like being supported, and
Yeah, they're definitely manipulated.
yeah, a lot of them.
Like some regulatory body needs to look into this stuff.
Well, there was one, and then we like shunned him out of the office completely, right? It's like, no,
Yeah,
stop
but-
looking into this stuff.
Yeah, but they were being like unreasonable.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
if the SEC was looking into this, I don't think anybody would have a problem.
Really,
Maybe. I'm guessing.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not an SEC expert either on security. I mean, this maybe market manipulation can be
Yeah.
talked about in regards to this stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm curious how the IPO market does it. Do they have market makers? I would imagine they do as well.
yeah, I don't even want to know. Yeah, they have to.
They
right?
have to, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's literally Wall Street, and like
Yeah.
IPOs, like that whole system.
They have to have market makers.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right, so it started with a deal. Movement gave almost half the supply to a group called Rentec. They thought Rentec worked with Web3 Port. It didn't. There's a bunch of screenshots here with agreements. And it says the contract said if Move reached a $5 billion value, they could sell everything
Holy shit! Everything. Wow.
and split the profits.
With who? With the team?
Well, I guess with the team. A perfect setup to pump the price and dump on everyone.
What the fuck?
And here it is. Profit sharing specifically depends on liquidation price during the period.
Hmm.
Man, imagine like you're those guys and you're looking at this and you're about to sign the deal. It's like,
Do you think they did look at that?
absolutely. Yeah, man, you got to read everything before you sign anything.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so they're in on this, right?
They have to, yeah. Now, Movement says they were tricked,
Well, yeah, they're denying it then.
but the paper trail is clear. They signed it, tokens got dumped, retail got burned, and according to the deal, they got profit shares,
Yeah,
right?
which they weren't aware of, right?
Yeah, it's like what did
I mean,
$50 million
it's
show
not
up?
outside of my realm of assumptions that they didn't read a fucking line, dude. They're just like, yeah, look at the bros. Go up there.
Yeah, they're
We're
definitely,
fucking bros, dude. We're here to like own this industry. So give me the paper. I'm gonna sign it. Give me $20-30 million. I'm in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course,
There's that possibility.
There's absolutely.
Like fucking, it's the same thing as like
That's a rookie mistake, though.
There's a possibility Sam Bankman-Fried was like playing too much League of Legos and didn't like realize, like
That they're using customer funds to make investments?
Well, maybe like not to that like degree of egregiousness. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, but that still, if you don't know what's happening, that's your.
That doesn't make you innocent in any way.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so going back, it says they didn't know, they signed it, tokens got dumped, retail got burned, and what does it say? It says Cooper. Today, Movement Foundation shared a Twitter and blog post about compromising GroomLink to conduct a third-party review into recent market maker abnormalities. So this looks like Slack.
Oh yeah.
The co-founder Rushi shared the deal. He was later suspended. The lawyer called it a terrible deal, and then helped write it. This says Binance banned the trader. Movement promised a buyback, but users who claimed on the Movement chain still waiting for tokens for 4 months later. And then what was sold as a big crypto launch ended in chaos, lies, and silence. Millions lost, and no one takes the blame. Most shady deals in crypto stay hidden, but not this one. This is what happens when the wrong people get too much power. Be careful who you trust.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough out there, dude. But yeah, people are, I guess becoming aware that it's becoming a weird trend, right? It happened with Ohm.
Yeah,
now it's happening here. I'm assuming this is like probably a systemic process at this point.
I think all the market makers are like red alerts, like they're onto us. We need to exit all positions.
Oh Jesus!
And so
possibly
we might see a cascading effect here.
Yeah, or at least for like newer token launches, I guess, like TGEs. I mean, this is the shit that people have been talking about, right? This is the nerve that resonates with the market, right? It's like why we need to like divert away from supporting these types of token launch activities, right? These VC insider deals and moves, these orchestrations of
I would agree.
Market activity.
I mean, you go to Pump.fun or any of the new Pump derivative platforms, it definitely feels more organic.
Until you realize, like, essentially the same thing is happening.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? It's just a different like group of.
It's a different style of attack.
Right. Yeah. It masquerades under the illusion of organic and like community first and all this shit, and then you realize there's like insider sniper cabals.
Yeah, 100%.
Ingrained into all these platforms, is ready to like. They have the same strategies, right? It's like we have a preset target in mind. We're gonna pay these KOLs to shill the hell out of a coin. Maybe that's what's happening with Housecoin right now. Housecoin.
I've heard of that.
Exactly.
Somebody that works at Walmart was switching like the images on frames with a house to pump the coin.
You saw that like in person or like
no. This is on Twitter.
Oh Jesus! I was about to say if you got to like local Walmart, dude.
No, absolutely not.
It's pretty insane. But it started off as just another meme coin, but now it's 100 million market cap, possibly on its way to $1 billion, like the next fart coin.
Yeah.
But you don't think there's some sort of like inner workings there? I mean, there has to be, right? In most cases.
Yeah. How does this happen? Like, how do you get a token to 100 million market cap if without this, right?
And then the question is like, is maybe, I don't think there's ever like a defensible point here where like this is okay, where we're all like in collective agreements. Like, there's insiders on memes, there's VC insiders on, infra tokens or whatever. But what we're really all doing here is like hot potato, right? As long as we can like get from like on the way up, and like at some point we don't know what. These guys have their own internal trigger selling points. It's like we gotta get out before those.
But I feel like we got to be careful because investors are not bad.
No, and they need
so they need to be able to invest in early stage startups and benefit from like the success of the startup. The issue is that a lot of these like tokens and projects don't make any revenue.
They're not doing anything. They're just replicating already existing technology.
Yeah, so remove Web3 from like its existence, right? Just remove it. If you're an investor and you're investing in a project, you're going to invest under the impression that this is a good idea, this is a good thing, and it's going to generate some revenue.
I think traditionally that's what investors
Right.
once were. Yeah.
yeah.
But the Web3 investor has like adopted some like a mind warping,
Well,
a mind poisoning.
only because first of all, exiting a company is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And so launching a token is very easy to do. And as
Extremely.
you can tell, there's ways to manipulate token launches.
Yeah,
right?
where it's almost like a guarantee.
Yeah.
Essentially is. As long as they're like they have the right. Yeah, and like Binance and Coinbase and stuff like they know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Even though like
they do.
whenever the shit hits the fan, they like to play like oh my god.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
didn't know that this was going on.
Yeah, we're here to protect the users, guys. It's
Yeah.
like you're gonna get reimbursed. We for sure. Like bad guy, bad,
Yeah.
right? A little slap on the
Yeah,
wrist.
yeah. You get delisted and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah, so the exchanges end up looking like the good guys to
Yeah.
the retail demographic, right? It's like, thank you for looking out for us, but meanwhile, 10 other backroom deals went through their listing process.
Yeah, the 10 other deals haven't like imploded yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more like solid at the seams, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's happening, and I think the more of these that keep occurring, the more obvious it gets, I guess. But again, it's like it's not going to change anything. I think the market is pretty wise at this point. And again, it's why it's like it's supported the underlying ethos of like no more of this,
Yeah.
more of that, which again,
Yeah,
also
even
disruptive.
yeah, even that, more of that is still kind of not great either.
Yeah, well, if you don't do this or that, what's left, dude?
Yeah, I mean, either or, there are market manipulators.
Yes.
And so, and the problem with that is that if that token isn't being manipulated, it doesn't have 100x potential like overnight. Like we're seeing on Twitter, people getting rich, getting into these meme coins like overnight 100x's.
Right.
Right. And so a completely organic token is not going to do 100x overnight on average.
I agree. Yeah, man. So I don't know. This is just seems like potentially like very bearish, but also not really. It's just maybe this is how the industry operates. So, it is what it is, right? But we certainly don't need more infra, like more L2s and such. I mean, I mean,
unless your L2 does something so drastically new and different.
they don't. They don't. There's no way that they can do anything that much more drastically different, right? Other than like
defy the laws of physics. That's the only way.
well, they're not doing that. I'm telling you. It's gotten so egregious, like so saturated. It's like now Vitalik or the Ethereum Foundation put out like the I don't know if you've seen. There's like a tier system now, decentralization tier order.
Oh, that's interesting.
Something like that. And like Base just like qualified for like tier 1 status. So you all start out as tier 0. That means you're absolute dog shit, right? Like you're centralized.
Okay.
Like you're fuck all reliable, from the optics of the Ethereum Foundation. But yeah,
but Base is at tier 1 and not
tier 1,
not tier 0.
Correct.
So that's just like one step.
That's right. They're just like slightly less egregious.
Okay, so then is there like a tier 5 or
I don't know. I don't think anybody's gone beyond tier 1 so far. There's like maybe Arbitrum, I think, is on there.
So like
ZK.
I wonder what the rubric is. It's like what if Bitcoin
see
was
if you can find it.
Okay, let's
see if
see.
we can find it. Just look for Base. Because, Jesse was on Twitter yesterday, like, walking around his like complex or whatever. And it was like boasting about the fact it's like, see, I told you Base wasn't like completely corporate chain.
So proud that Base is now stage 1 and number 1 by TVS. Total value supplied?
No.
But it's still day 1. Time to bring the world on chain.
Okay, here we go. Are these all the okay, see, there's only 4 stage 1s. Everyone else is in like shitland still.
Damn, Starknet.
World chain? Is that WorldCoin? They have their own chain now? They could.
Yeah, I think they do.
Of course they do.
I want to see the website to this, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We got to find that.
Wait, thank you, for your hard work keeping us safe. Is this an ad? Did I just click on an ad,
Oh,
dude?
there's your website, dude.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Wow, base number 1, dude. How did that happen?
It says
I thought they were
total
the Fed chain.
TVS, total value secured.
Ah, by what?
Past day UOPS?
Dude, we thought we had a lot of like
Acronyms, yeah.
fucking A.
User operations per second averaged over the past day.
Wow, so Base is crushing it. This is actually a good site. I didn't know this site existed. This is important to pay attention to if you're like, bullish on the Ethereum L2 stuff.
Hold on, these are roll-ups. There's Validiums and Optimums.
Mm-hmm. And others.
So these don't have stages.
Yeah, this is a new thing, by the way. So
who did this? What?
I mean, I think the Ethereum Foundation did. Let me see. Let me look a little deeper with you, dude.
Here's others. This is Polygon proof of stake. Damn, this is no proofs. Immutable. It says projects without data availability bridge fully rely on single entities, the sequencer, to honestly rely available data routes on Ethereum. A malicious sequencer can collude with the proposer to finalize an unavailable state, which can cause loss of funds.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. Scroll made the list today, 3 hours ago. Ethereum.org tweeted, it's like, Scroll is the first ZK rollup with stage 1 confirmation. So
Where at? Scroll?
Yeah, Scroll's another L2. Come on, dude.
I know, but it's not here on this list.
Well, it's somewhere. It's probably in the others category, maybe.
No way, dude.
No, it's not. Wow. It's getting pretty weird out there, dude. But I can't find like the origins of this, like whether it's an Ethereum Foundation like tweet or what. Or this is like some sort of third party like verifier.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like Ethereum Foundation, dude.
It feels like an Ethereum Foundation like campaign though. Like,
yeah, maybe they're just leveraging it.
Well, ever since they became, or Vitalik became more present, right? And it's like now all of a sudden we've got these new added benchmarks of like validation for L2s. Because again, I think the situation for Ethereum is it's too muddy, it's too cloudy.
Yeah, look at all this shit, dude.
Like
what is happening?
That's a lot of them, dude. So how are you supposed to like, if you're a developer out there, and you're like, okay, I heard about this Ethereum thing, but apparently you don't build on it anymore. You got to choose one of these L2s to start building your app, right?
Yeah.
So how the fuck? How the fuck do you choose, right? What do you look at? Dead ass. I'm asking you, dude. You're a dev, right?
What do I
You build
look
stuff.
at?
You build apps.
I guess one of the things I look at is where all the people are.
Okay, so that metric they had of, what was it, like a DAU?
Yeah, so
That's an important one.
yeah, it says past day UOPS. So user operations per second.
So Base is winning, right? So you would assume, and they're stage 1, right? So I mean,
yeah, right there is like no brainer.
Yeah, you would assume, developer interest and like,
But look at this, dude.
right?
It's like after the first two, it drops off. This one has 21. World chain.
Those are like eyeball scans, right?
Thank you, Sam. Yeah.
Eyeball scans for your old coin emissions. All right.
And then this one has 18. This is Tycho Alethea.
I don't know.
And then it just completely drops off. There's like nobody using anything other than Base, roughly.
Yeah, and then if you look into the history of most of these, these are teams that raise tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. They were all there at the conferences of Ethereum, Denver and such, with their kiosks
and their watches
and their merch. Yeah, they had their
Jacob and Co. watches.
Yeah, the Dragonite. Yeah. They acquired the Dragonites, and then this is the product they ended up leaving on the table, right? It's like they created new infra coins with the market maker support.
Mm-hmm.
And, because the seams were tight, it worked, right?
Yeah.
Most of these probably have like 100 million plus FDV values even today.
Yeah.
Right, so
Even though nobody's using it because of market makers.
Yeah, it's just because it's a well cemented category where it's like you could just launch these things, 100 million plus FTV. You got like market maker support on these big exchanges.
Yeah.
You have persistent exit liquidity on retail.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what's happening, guys. And it's like the fuck, right?
Yeah. So damn,
WTF,
we need to save this and refer back to it regularly.
Yeah.
Total value secured stacked by type, or staked by type. Stacked.
Yeah. So getting back to your thing, it's like, how could VCs not, right? If this like worked so well for so long, it produced so many of these, they're gonna keep doing it until the cracks fall, which it seems like they're starting to break apart in real time. So
yes, it's hard to know like if it's actually breaking apart.
Well, this is the first evidences of it, at least.
Yeah, I guess so. This is definitely evidence of something cracking.
Yeah, some sort of like very persistent, like deep inside activities, right? So maybe like that meta that the rest of us don't have like exclusive access to, retail. Maybe it's drying out for them. So then it's like, all right, what's next, guys? Right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
TJ, what's the time we got?
We're about halfway through.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, that took me down a rabbit hole, dude.
No, that was interesting. I mean,
yeah, people want to know like what's the current state of things. Like this is basically it. Well, at least like
yeah, I mean this list here just tells everything. It tells a whole story of crypto.
Yeah.
It's like what is this? It's like no, I'm actually on the wrong one. UOPS. It's like nobody's using most other chains.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising, but like why are we launching more L2s again?
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not only that, it's not okay. Why would investors ever buy into
that is the problem. 100%.
Another proposition for an L2. They know this is happening.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that they are still buying into them and like funding this shit tells you something. Because they know it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's because there's a game here that they're playing that's like a guaranteed ROI.
100%. Yeah, man.
What that means is less resources for like people actually trying to build shit, right?
Yeah. I feel like
because that's a riskier play. There's no guarantee industry
100%.
angle for those types of builders.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like meaning like if you're building a product like we have and it generates revenue, that's like a red flag.
Yeah,
right? Because that's there's no industry like formula for like a project that's actually generating revenue.
Yeah, that's right.
To like push that up to some pipeline of guaranteed like extraction.
Yeah,
right?
and this is firsthand like accounts. We've seen other people tweet about this stuff too. It's like as soon as you start making revenue, investors are just not interested.
Yeah. So then people sit there scratching their heads like, why is nothing being built?
Yeah, and there's other tweets that's like, why aren't Web3 projects focusing on revenue? It's like,
well, yeah,
because of this.
You can't. If you do, you don't get like the actual support. So there's a flip flop in like logic to this industry, right? Like you're saying, it doesn't nurture like the corners of this space that need nurturing, right? It's just fueling all the resources and value to a fallen model, right?
You know what would be interesting is to take all these projects and list out all the investors in each of these projects, and then let's start making correlations here.
Yeah.
And like this is part of this list here is like
yeah. But then what?
I don't know. Maybe we shift incentives to like projects that are actually trying to build something of substance. Like as in general, as a practice, as an industry.
That would be cool.
It would be cool.
That'd be great. Because then like real builders would be like
coming back in and like trying to solve problems and figure shit out.
Or build shit that, attracts real users, not not airdrop farmers.
Right.
Most of this is also like all these L2s is part of the airdrop farm.
Yeah, not only that, all the transactions that are happening is for the airdrop.
Pretty much.
Not because they're using the blockchain. They're using it for the airdrop.
Correct. Yeah, man. I mean, it's not pretty when you like actually know what's going on and you see these things. It's like, man, it's very discouraging. Again, for people trying to build something we identify as like a substantial value add to this thing we call crypto, right?
Yeah.
And it's just under these types of market conditions and environments, like that's not acknowledged.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty dangerous to continue down this path because, what's happening in the industry sort of is like gaslighting our own minds. It's like maybe we should launch a token, and maybe we should do the same sort of like airdrop mechanics.
We should be in Dubai.
Yeah, maybe we should be in Dubai. Maybe we should spend $2.5 million on a watch.
Well, we can't do that. But meaning like we should be in Dubai so that we could launch a token, like you said.
Yeah, right.
That falls in line with this industry wrap, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not at Dubai, you're not at these conferences. That's the Salt Bay dinners, dude. That's where all this stuff is happening, dude. They're out there getting their steaks cut up for them with their like flakes of gold on top.
Right.
And then in between, salt bays, it's like, what do you guys think the FDV of this token will be like whenever we launch it, right? Oh, we got the market makers for you.
Yeah.
We got it, dude.
You just sign here.
Well, what college did you go to? Oh, okay. Yale? Good.
Yeah.
We're in.
Right.
Shit like that. Oh, you worked at Google before?
I said Gale, not Yale.
I worked at Spoogle, actually. That is. And then, cool. All right. You guys got what we need. We're going to slap this on a white paper. We got a roadmap for you already like built out.
Yeah.
We're going to call this ZK optimistic bullishness, roll-upness technology, dude.
Yeah.
And we're in there.
Yeah, all of a sudden you launch and it's like, boom, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it hit the mark, dump.
And then,
run it again.
The space is like, why? What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, run it again. So, if this don't clean up, guys, don't expect greatness is like the real takeaway.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's why we struggle on this like podcast and YouTube channel to find like actual substance like we did with Bitensor. Because those are like unique, like
unicorns.
Unicorns, absolutely.
It didn't do that.
It didn't do that.
Yeah.
No, it was like an actual organic. It's like, you know what? I'm going to use actual Web3 to incentivize my network properly, and I'm not even going to do a pre-mine of my own token.
Well, not a pre-mine, but it's like here's like a participant driven token ecosystem that I could be a participant.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you earned your own token because you participated in your own network,
just like Satoshi did for Bitcoin, right?
100%. Yeah.
How much did he end up mining? Like
1 million,
which is like roughly 5% of the overall.
Supply. 5%. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would imagine the Bitensor team, foundation, whatever, probably did similar numbers.
Yeah, because they were the only miner in their own network
for like the first year, I bet.
Yeah.
Or maybe less than that. I don't know. 6 months to a year. And then, we see now, like, it's very competitive now. And the tau emissions, there's still like, 14,000 tau still left to be emitted. And
I mean, let's not forget, Bitensor also has investors.
Million, not thousand. Yeah, they do. Right.
Yeah.
Because they sold those tokens.
They sold those tokens to their investors. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, that works. I think that's much more of like an honest. But that's like slow motion, right?
It is slow motion.
It took them probably years to like.
You actually have to build something.
That too. They had to build something first.
Yeah.
And they had to build a community of people, users,
That's what's crazy. It's like the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is in Web 2, you actually have to build something first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually get users first and get some revenue first, and then investors come in and they add fuel to your fire.
Right. Yeah.
Which is exactly what we did.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, that's, we assumed.
Idiots.
This is what, this industry
fools
needed, right? Is people actually like iterating in a bootstrapping sense, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Using our own funds to like get things off the ground. Literally like, just pausing like our actual life to like work on things that we think needed to be worked on and improved on.
Yeah, and that was purely like out of our own like belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's no like indications that what we were doing was the right thing to do.
No.
None.
Correct. So, yeah. Still isn't. I mean, it's like based on market evidences, it would suggest it's not a good idea to be building like on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Based on what the market is telling us.
Yeah.
But we disagree.
Yeah.
We think Bitcoin has like real.
I mean, if you're going to be building on Bitcoin, at least build something completely new like we did.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going to put pictures on Bitcoin and like call it like a new paradigm, you're wrong.
Yeah, it was a new paradigm in the sense, like at least like a catalyst into this direction, right? Where it's like, you know, the idea of anything on Bitcoin is now potentially normalized.
But
so,
to think that that was going to be enough is wrong.
Yeah, we were questioning that in the very
100%.
beginning days. We were wondering, it's like, this is cool. And then we started looking at the output, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the lowest fidelity of creation, right? Because of the limitations of Bitcoin itself.
Yeah, which has its own charm to it.
It does. Its own ethos, its own aesthetic, its own brand, whatever, culture.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but we saw this run already, right? Where it's like people are putting together like JPEGs on chain.
Yeah.
So we were wondering.
On chain.
That's true. Yeah, it wasn't even truly on chain stuff.
Right.
But the market assumed it, so it ran, right? It ran pretty hard.
Correct.
But we were wondering, it's like, can it run again? Like, no way, right?
Yeah.
I think that was our assumption. That's why it led us to like, we need to inject some new some newness to the creation process that didn't exist before, right? And that's what DMT did.
Yeah, and that's why we were like so bullish on Bitmap, because it did something new that is unlike things that have happened in the past.
Exactly. Yeah, because as soon as we saw like the art proliferating and even like shitcoins proliferating, we're like, this is cool and all, but it's gonna stale out at some point. And so we're like, you know, what about a metaverse on Bitcoin?
Yeah, dude, that's
cool too, but it's also like,
and there were metaverses on Bitcoin, like in a traditional and arbitrary way, and it was just not interesting.
Was there?
Yeah, there was. There was like one or two.
There was like a few ordinal like land.
Yeah.
Land collection,
which was like a good and like, you know, kind of a basic idea, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, we saw that and we was like, that's cool, but not inspiring. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's gonna like really get people's, you know, jimmies going. You know, just to see.
No jimmies went on those.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's like, oh look, these look very similar to other deep plots, right?
Yeah.
But they're on Bitcoin. It's like, do we think there's going to be like a huge market shifting for that?
Probably it's like the same shit, but then you just like append, but on Bitcoin, and like you think you're good.
Yeah. No. And then, so Satoshi gets the credit here for like, how about, you know, Bitcoin itself being like the asset generation device, right?
Yeah. So cool.
And then we're sitting there watching the mempool for the first time, right? Bitfeed.live.
That's right.
Watching the little squares fall into place, the transactions itself, and it's like forming a digital landscape before our eyes.
Yeah.
And no human on earth has any input on it. Well, I guess the human
all
input.
Humans, the whole human network has input.
Yeah, I guess the human energy of transacting.
Yeah.
And the human energy of acquiring the energy to secure all of that.
That's right.
And store that into like the most immutable preservation of like potential energy, right?
Yes.
That's what's happening. Every single block.
Yes.
And it's like, that's it. That's way more inspiring and interesting than what we've seen in the past.
That's music, dude.
No, it's stupid. Fade that. Fade that until it's dead, right? Because there's no KOLs screaming on the top of their lungs like that. This is the way we should be progressing, guys.
You should only listen to KOLs, guys.
Well, we do. KOLs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the market does. So that's another like
insider game.
Yeah, that's another vector that needs cleansing, right? It's like this market needs to stop just purely following KOLs, but at the same time, it's. I feel like that can only be that way, right?
Yeah, obviously, there's no. I mean, there could be some regulations. Like typically, when you get paid to like, let's say you have a huge following on Twitter, and someone says, "Hey, can you tweet this out? We'll pay you." It's like you can actually do that. So I'll tweet it out. I'll get paid. But the thing that you have to do is you have to say that this wasn't a paid ad. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just keep doing that.
Mm.
So if there's regulations for that, I think there can be regulations for like KOLs, shilling their stuff.
Yeah.
Whether and they get around it too. It's like, okay, well, can you show me this? I'll let you buy this token at like 10x cheaper cost. And then it's like the transaction's made, they bought the token, they get to shill it, and like no ad is on the tweet,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so now that we're talking DMT, there's some things to kind of like demonstrate here, right? We got like 20 minutes or so.
All right. Looking at Bitcoin, and from Bitcoin comes NAT.
Should we explain that all over again? Yeah, why not, right? In case you're like new.
Yeah, so
we talked about Bitmap, kind of like explaining how metaverse land parcels come from the transactions that are happening on Bitcoin blocks. So look up Bitmap if you want to see like what that actually renders out to.
Yeah, well, actually,
I guess,
let me just pull it up. Bitfeed.
Okay. That works too.
Okay, bitfeed.live. Yeah, so head on over to bitfeed.live just to see kind of like the generation of each blocks with cool animations. But yeah, this is a bitmap. And you can jump in there in 3D using one of our products called Bitmap OS. You can actually build within the parcels within that bitmap.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with metaverse concepts, just if you have kids, you are, but you don't know it, right? They probably play Roblox or, Fortnite, things like that. They spend a lot of their time in virtual environments doing stuff, participating in like a digital economy in a sense, right?
Yeah.
They run around as these characters, and they form identity around these things because they can acquire assets that are produced by other participants in those economies, right?
Yeah.
Skins and such.
Yeah.
Or they can visit these experiences that are also produced by other participants in that economy, and if they like them, they spend more time there, they buy their products. And then those producers of experiences, they make money, right?
Yeah, and hence that platform ends up being a $40 billion platform known as Roblox.
Yeah, and it's why every kid in America, at least, like has a tablet, basically. So Apple loves it,
Yeah.
All the microchip manufacturers in Taiwan love it.
Sure.
Right? Donald Trump loves it because he could tariff the hell out of it. Right?
Yeah.
So this is like the beginnings of like a metaverse economy, right? So it's pretty big. It's a big deal. It might not seem like it yet.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah. So we're actually in that 3D environment. This is a real bitmap, and it's been parceled out. All those little colored squares are people who own pieces of the land, and they're building. But today we're going to be talking about the NAT token. So what is the NAT token? It is the first token from the DMT ecosystem, and it stands for non-arbitrary token. And what happened was we launched the NAT token when we launched the DMT Gitbook, and in 7 days, this thing blocked out. So which meant that you could see here, there's 894,000 blocks on Bitcoin. All of them have been claimed by some human body on Earth within 7 days, all 897,000. So imagine like basically 1 million mints.
Yeah.
And then on block 885588, which is a few blocks ago, we directed this token, which is produced every single block, and we directed it to whoever mined the next block. So here we are with the miner leaderboard, and Foundry USA is leading the pack with basically 1.1 trillion tokens, NAT tokens, mined.
Yeah.
And so this is a non-arbitrary value. So every block has a non-arbitrary value of NATs, which is pointing to the bits field of Bitcoin block data. So we converted the bits field into an actual fungible token. So they're produced every block. And now we're sending that fungible token to miners to support the network.
Yeah, and if you don't know what a bits field is, there's many fields of data in respect to a Bitcoin block, right? Like,
yeah,
you got transaction field, you got the block hash.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, transaction data.
And there's one called bits, which is like
nonce. Yeah.
This field does what? It's like a
So it represents a difficulty adjustment. And so the bit's value changes every 2 weeks, or 2016 blocks.
yeah, it can. Sometimes it's not changed.
Sometimes the difficulty doesn't adjust.
That's right. So this is like a not. This is so in context of that. It's like, so why do that, right? It's like there's a lot of activity happening, just launching coins with an arbitrary supply, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to Pumped Out Fun. Basically, every coin, I think every coin actually per the platform is 1 billion in supply, right?
Yep.
It's just 1,000,000,000,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's working swimmingly, right? It abstracts a little bit of like the complexity away from like the token deployers.
Responsibilities.
Yeah,
It's just you
mental-
give me a ticker and give me a picture and launch, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's as easy as you can get it, right? So that's what the arbitrary landscape has been reduced down to. So that's why we've created a separate category called non-arbitrary tokens, right? Because we're leveraging this event that humans have put together called Bitcoin, right? Which is it is something akin to like an unstoppable force, right?
Mhm.
And we can parallel that to things like physics, right? Things that we deal with in our physical world and our physical existence that cannot be tampered with, cannot be changed, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
No matter where we go on Earth, we're gonna have to deal with gravity. Right?
Yep.
No matter
Laws of physics, you can't break them.
They're laws, exactly.
Yeah.
How they ended up happening, debatable, right?
I don't know if it's debatable, but I'll allow it.
Well, yeah. I mean, human beings have been debating this very crux of an issue, of an idea for millennia now. It's very debatable, right? Like how these forces and these laws came to be. No debate.
No
Okay.
debate at all.
Whatever, dude. But the point is, it's unstoppable, right? Untamperable. So Bitcoin represents. It's definitely on the pathway to achieving that. I guess it already has, right? Per its like decentralization.
Yeah.
And the design of it, it's the most immutable construct human beings have put together.
Yeah, and a different way to kind of like analogize what's happening is that Earth has produced these commodities, right? Like gold, oil, these things that we use to create industries out of, right? Mm-hmm. And all Earth did was supply energy through like a small amount of energy through a long enough time to produce these commodities. Right. It's just temperature and pressure. That's it. That's all it took. Right. And of course the actual material like carbon and other elements. Mm-hmm. But you put those into this recipe. You put energy into this recipe, and then you allow it with enough time. It produces these commodities, and Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing. Right. All these miners throughout the entire planet are injecting energy into the network. Right. They're converting energy, and they're making Bitcoin, and they're also making a blockchain full of data where you cannot modify that data in the same way you cannot modify physics.
Correct.
And so now we're pointing to a specific part of Bitcoin's block data called the bits field using an element, right? So kind of like the parallel is like being established here. Yeah. An element represents a pattern. That pattern we chose to be the bits field, and now we have the NAT token.
Correct. But there's a whole protocol underpinning this thing called DMT for digital matter theory where, it recognizes that there are many fields.
There's other elements.
Yeah, there can be other elements derived from all these fields.
That's right.
Right? Just like, you can discover new elements which have been discovered, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you understand, like, how atoms bond together and such, right? Yeah. So there's a whole scientific renaissance around these initial discoveries and expanding this knowledge base to now we leverage these things called elements to produce, like you're saying, usable commodities that fuel our economic growth, right? So we figured it's like let's like leverage this established like human, I guess, behavior, economic behavior.
This human coordination, that's what Bitcoin is.
Yeah. Let's leverage that, bring that into the digital space because Bitcoin is producing like all these same substrates essentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like in a different context, right? It's digital, not physical. Yeah. So you could do that. Right now I think there's 3 or 4 indexed fields. Therefore, you can derive different things, different digital products, whether they're like a non-fungible asset or a fungible one. Yeah. like that, like you said, is being pointed to the existence of the patterns that are on these fields, right? So
That's right.
that's what makes it non-arbitrary in comparison to like some token creation that was just spun out of thin air. Some platform out there just says you can only have 1 billion of them.
Yeah.
Very arbitrary, very like rooted to nothing of substance, right?
So let's establish another parallel. So just like on Pump.fun, all you need is a ticker and a picture, and you're essentially launched. What would you need in the realm of a non-arbitrary token? You would also need a ticker.
Right.
You would also need a picture or an app or a script or whatever game, anything.
Right.
And you would need an element.
Yeah.
An element is basically a pattern on Bitcoin you choose, and you have a non-arbitrary supply. And by the way, that pattern could occur again in the future.
Yeah.
So in this case, the NAT token occurs every 10 minutes.
Every single block.
Yeah. And in the case, there was a project called NatCats and Royals and BTC Substance, and there's all these projects using DMT. They will also occur in a non-arbitrary way as long as that pattern occurs again.
Yeah, and those creations they're called UNATs, unique non-arbitrary tokens. So they don't follow the same scheme as the NAT token itself, meaning like they don't.
It's not every 10
block.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, they follow more closely along the kind of like the established meta of like NFTs, which they have around a 10K supply.
Yeah.
Meaning like the pattern associated to that token is only accrued because these are bits field patterns. So remember, every variation in the bits value, it propagates for 2,000 blocks.
Correct.
So these are like 4, 5, maybe 3, 4, 5 like instances of occurrence.
Yeah, that's right.
For the pattern over like Bitcoin's entire life.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is like tremendously interesting for one.
That's right.
It's really cool to like discover like these instances of occurrence, but then it's even cooler to like append some new vehicle of creation to that. To where like we assume Bitcoin's going to continue indefinitely. Now there's like a new arbiter force in the creation process, and it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like that is a determination of like when these new productions will occur.
So all this is to say is that we came to Bitcoin and we knew we had to create something new. Otherwise, it's just not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so DMT is that new thing. It is that unique thing that can only be done on Bitcoin just because of its energy expenditure throughout the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely unique. DMT is not something that has occurred in the past with crypto. So now, again, talking about the NAT token as being the first one is being directed to the miners, and we just made an update to the site. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the DMT, there's a 100-second video here and another 100-second video on exactly what is NAT. Well, we created a new section on how to contribute. So the reason this exists is because this is one of those tokens that doesn't really align with the industry scheme of participation.
We literally just talked about that.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no market makers here. We didn't because we didn't go to Dubai and get our Dragonites. We don't have like millions and millions and millions of dollars of industry support for the liquidity environment for this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there's no like, we don't hold bags of this thing because it was a free and fair distributed token, right?
Correct. This is a completely free and fair. And if you look at this section here, how to contribute, we've outlined exactly what this token is. It's a #1 mission coin on Bitcoin. So the reason why it's a mission coin is because if Bitcoin is a store of value, on average, a store of value isn't used to transact with. And so if the network is depending on transactions to occur, when the system that we're aligned with is a store of value, there's a discrepancy there. And so we need some other mechanism to support the Bitcoin network that has nothing to do with transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we're directing the NAT token to the miners as a way to mine or to contribute to the sustainability of the network. And the first miner here, Foundry, has been mining for, let's say, 2 months, and they've generated $14,000.
Yeah.
Because the market cap is so low. Right? Imagine this was 100x from here, 400 million.
We have a nice little slider here to visualize that.
That's right. So let's visualize 400 million market cap.
That's fair. I mean, let's do 100 million because House Coin's at 100 million, right?
Okay. 100 million.
That's like a recent meme coin on Solana that's just taken off, unexplainable reason. It just has. It resonated, the idea of people are struggling in the housing market these days. You know, millennials are priced out.
Yeah.
So let's launch a meme coin around that idea. And like, I don't know, if you're bag holding, maybe one day you can afford a house. I think that's the ethos of the coin.
Right.
100 million market cap. What are we talking?
So Foundry would have generated $320,000 over the last 2 months in change.
Okay. Now let's talk about Fartcoin.
Fartcoin, okay.
Residing at around $1 billion.
Yeah, it's like 1.2 or something like that.
Yeah, another same thing as like NAT, right? It's a coin, it's a token, right? Different chain, of course, different market environment, and again, like different entities, actors, whatever, demographics, like supporting its valuation in the market and such. But
yeah,
achieved $1 billion. Ethos around it is it was like the first, or one of the first, like AI launched memes or something.
Fartcoin was?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was launched by Truth Terminal.
What a dirty mind.
I might be thinking about Goat. Goatius Maximus.
Oh, yeah. I think you are. Goat.
Yeah, I don't know the origins of Fartcoin then.
I think it was a random, like, token, I think. I don't know. We need to look into it. But nonetheless, Fartcoin, the most prestigious of all names, right? $1 billion. And that would have equate for the NAT token to Foundry $3.3 million over a few months.
Yeah. And even more important, I think, is the real thing we want to pay attention to is the per block basis reward, right? Because remember, there's another asset in the Bitcoin network that is being rewarded on a per block basis. It's called Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Right? So that subsidy itself is like, according to today's valuation, is roughly around $250,000 in compensation. So
yeah, and then the fees generated per block is on average around $3,000.
Yeah, that's fees collected from people minting ordinals,
transaction fees on Bitcoin.
Yeah, people minting runes, transacting stuff. So in this day, it's a lot lower than what it has been in the past. So, you know, miners are taking notice because, you know, the price of Bitcoin hasn't like doubled from its previous peak of 60,000. Not yet.
Yeah, look at this. It's basically still in the blue.
Yeah, so miners are saying this out loud, right? Hey, there's a lot of miners out here struggling because Bitcoin has not yet at least doubled to its previous all-time high because, you know, the emission has already been halved.
Yeah, but why should we care if a miner is struggling?
Yeah, right? It's like they're soaking in millions a year.
Well,
so why should we care?
Yeah, why should we care? They could just turn off their miners and then the difficulty adjusts, right? Makes it a little bit easier to mine. But that means the security goes down. And that means the store of value narrative also is in shambles at that point.
And what we've talked about, like Bitcoin loses its allure of being that unstoppable force.
Yeah, it would be the equivalent of like gold being the store of value, which it is today. It's been the store of value for the last thousands of years. And it would be like you just turn up the temperature and all of a sudden gold just like melts. Or you know, you just like it just like falls apart. Like you touch it and just like falls apart. That wouldn't be a good store of value, would it?
Just like tarnishes.
Yeah, just like falls apart.
Yeah,
like that's not a good store of value.
No, that wouldn't work.
That's essentially what you're doing to Bitcoin if you just keep turning miners off.
Right. So you want to support these guys, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
These entities, because, and again, that is what's producing that immutability, right? That is unrivaled at the current moment. Right?
Yeah, right. So
you can extrapolate further, but the real motivation mission, very far end of the scale, is $1 trillion.
Yeah. So what's the target here? So the target,
nice little explosioning.
Yeah.
Right. Nice little party there.
Yeah, it's $1 trillion. So each miner is generating $1 million
per block.
$1 million per block. Yeah.
I mean, that's significant. Of course, the goal here is like, you know, fantastical, right? $1 trillion. There's never been a meme in existence, unless you categorize Bitcoin itself as a meme. Some do.
Yeah, I mean that's a $2 trillion meme.
Yeah, so it's not impossible, right? Actually, we just saw Murad produce a thesis about SPX 6900.
Correct. Yeah.
His target is $1 trillion.
Oh, his target is $1 trillion. I thought it was like 10 trillion or something. I thought it was 10
Actually,
trillion.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's
I
10
think
trillion.
No, it's like 60 trillion.
Yeah.
Because the mission of that coin is to flip the stock market, the entire market of equities and stocks. It's like,
Okay.
which I think is a 40 trillion to $50 trillion market.
Okay. Yeah.
So to actually like complete the mission, you got to flip the whole value of the stock market. So either the value plummets of stocks.
Yeah. You need 30 times the value of Bitcoin.
Yeah. For him to like win out. Right. So if Murad can make these claims, we certainly can too.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, our claim is a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah. And
We're talking about the first digital commodity from Bitcoin.
and for Bitcoin.
Yes.
From and for.
And it supports the network.
Isn't that like FUBU? For us, by us? For
Yes.
Bitcoin, by Bitcoin? FBBBB?
For Bitcoin by
FB cubed?
Yeah, FB cubed.
All right, there you go, dude.
That's a new t-shirt.
There's your t-shirt design, FB cubed.
Yeah.
All
right, so where are we going with this?
I don't know.
Right, so the section here, how to contribute, is like, remember, this is the first mission coin on Bitcoin, 100% free and fair, no team allocation, no pre-sale, organic decentralized community, harnesses the thermodynamic properties of Bitcoin, no insider group.
No.
Shame on us, dude.
Yeah, we screwed up.
100% community driven, does not pay influencers. And so as a result, we got to get the community who holds NAT tokens to contribute, right? So you click on this contribute button, it takes you to a new page. It's called listing.natgmi.com. And we have a goal here. There's a soft cap goals for collecting NAT tokens and BTC. The soft cap is up to 10 trillion. Soft cap of BTC is like roughly 1 Bitcoin. And we've already had contributors contribute. So this is live as of the last 24 hours. And so Let's Win Together contributed 550 billion NAT tokens, dude.
Wow.
And then we have other contributors here in the billions.
Wow. Shout out to you guys for being, for one, like being locked in.
Yeah, paying attention to the site and like.
Yeah, because we haven't even like really made any real like announcements or push around this yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, and shout out to the track team as well for basically heading all of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So where is the funds going? They're going to this address. So this is controlled by the TAP Foundation team. And so they're going to, it says down here, it says, this is a community initiative to list DMT NAT on centralized exchanges. The contribution period will remain open. So this is not true. It's going to be open indefinitely. And then they're going to transparently show like where the funds are going and where it's being listed and all that stuff. So
yeah, so why more exchanges? Well, the token needs more access. Right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right now it's only acquirable on like a few Ordinals native platforms like SatX,
yeah,
Ordinals Wallet, and Taproot Swap.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's a very niche corner of like where the market demographic lies, right? So therefore, can't expect that slidey bar to ever like truly manifest, right? Not in these niche pockets, right? You need access across all of crypto.
Yeah,
right?
and non-KYC, which is another exchange, they're on their way to integrating the NAT token and deploying it soon.
Yeah, and there's SuperX here as well.
SuperX, yeah.
So the idea is over time, we need to raise enough contributions here to populate where to buy with more optionality.
Yeah, it's going to be like non-KYC, then
hopefully we can get the
Mexi, and then Gate.io, and then Binance, and then
KuCoin.
Coinbase. No, yeah, KuCoin and
take them all, dude. Whatever. And then of course, Hypermall, which is like a track network, primitive of its own, which should make trading these things a lot more easier. So yeah, I mean, there's progress being made, of course, because we didn't get the Dragonites.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get 40-50 million in VC funding. It's not an L2, right? So all these things doesn't mean we get instant like 500 million FDV, like market placement, right? There's no industry planting here. This is like industry scraping, like we're scraping our way up through the industry, right?
Yeah, we're doing it how the Web3 ethos, the Web3 ethos way of doing it.
That's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah,
how it used to be.
This is how it used to be and how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
like completely organic.
But it's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah,
the grind hurts, guys. Because again, we're literally, we're going through the gauntlet here, right? And like you said, Vitensor had to go through it, Tau itself.
Yeah.
And,
It's at a 5 billion market cap or whatever.
yeah, Satoshi and Bitcoin had to go through it. I mean, talk about that journey, right?
Yeah.
So this journey is only beginning, but yeah, I mean, pieces are falling in place, and I'm bullish and optimistic for the future.
Yeah, same.
I think at some point people will wise up and realize, like, the space is corrupted. It's a little too icky, and we need to like start supporting things like NAT and DMT, which bring like a little bit of a cleansing, at least to the palette of what it is crypto represents.
It's a breath of fresh air for once.
I agree.
At least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us. If you have any questions around the NAT token, please join our Discord, ask us on Telegram, and all the links are here as well. Join Discord, Telegram, and follow our Twitter. Yeah, and if you have questions around DMT, you want to deploy your own DMT like asset, let us know. We'll help you out. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next podcast.
Peace.